from a lying down position. Just giving into gravity here. If you want to extend the legs so you're in savasana or bend the knees, either is fine. And with your hands, maybe even resting your hands on your belly, or you can just rest them to the side. And just give yourself a little bit of time here just to allow the body to settle, for your focus to turn inwards. And just begin to maybe scan through the body. We're just lying down, Kate. So just come down onto your back. So maybe scanning through the body here. Just checking in with how you feel physically, mentally, emotionally. And just be really accepting of what you find here. No judgments. And as we continue to practice, just be here with that sense of presence, curiosity and observation as a witness. And just become aware of your breath. I've had a little issue with my screen, so continue here whilst I just sort that out. So as you observe the breath, just noticing the length of the inhale, the length of the exhale. The movement of the breath in the body, where that breath is. And then connecting into that breath. So as we inhale, breathing just through the nose, so keeping the mouth closed. And as you breathe in through the nose, keep that breath light, like you're breathing in a really delicate thread of air. And that thread of air is reaching down into the belly, allowing the belly to expand, the lower rib cage to expand. And then as we exhale, we release that breath again softly and lightly, like where that thread of air is gently uncoiling. So it's quiet. Rib cage draws in, navel draws in. So just finding that breath, that light breath, low down into the body, slow. And we'll use our 5 counts to breathe in, 5 counts to breathe out, to use our resonant breath. So when we're ready, we'll start with the inhale, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, and out, in, and out. In, and out, in, and out. Continuing with that. So that breath, that resonant breath, 6 breaths per minute, ends up improving our heart rate variability and increasing our resilience to stress. That slower breath also allows for the body to uptake the oxygen that we're breathing in more efficiently as we develop our tolerance to the CO2. And then your affirmation for this evening. I allow my body to be my guide. I am grateful for its wisdom. I allow my body to be my guide. I am grateful for its wisdom. And then from here, start to bring a little bit of movement as we feel connected, focused and centered. So wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, and take a circle into those wrists, into the ankles. Reversing that circle. Good. And then just lengthen the arms out behind you. Lengthening from fingertip to toe. And then drawing the knees in. Hug the knees in. Maybe draw the forehead towards the knees and draw the navel in. So we're just feeling that connection into the core. You can even take a little rock from side to side if that feels good. And then releasing the head back down. Relaxing the shoulders. Hands onto the knees. Circling the knees in opposite directions to one another as we begin to mobilize into the hips and bring awareness here. So again, just noticing, observing, how does this part of the body feel? What signals is it giving to you? Reversing that circle. And really acknowledging if you are wanting some challenge through this class or you just need some nourishment. Really checking in with your energy levels and taking exactly what you need from the session. Releasing the feet now down to the mat. Keep the feet in as close to the pelvis as feels comfortable. Bending the knees and keeping the knees hip distance apart. We're going to take some pelvic rocks here. So as we exhale, draw the navel in, tuck the tailbone under and press the lower back into the mat. Engage into that pelvic floor and imagine your hip bones are reaching towards one another, front ribs draw in. As we inhale, release and press the tailbone down towards the mat. So we really exaggerate this lumbar curve. We can get our hands underneath it now. And then we're just going to rock between those two. So on the exhale, tuck the tailbone under, really connecting to the core. So we're starting to create some core activation here. Inhale. Try and stay nice and even with that breath. It doesn't have to be really strong and deep. Exhale. We're just coordinating movement with breath. And again, inhale. And exhale. We're doing that once more, but this time as we exhale, so inhale, rock forward. This time as we exhale, tuck the tailbone under and then continue to press into the feet. So we begin to peel the spine away from the mat. Think about lifting up a string of pearls. So we're lifting one vertebra at a time. We're coming up into like a half bridge. So the knees and the shoulders are in line. So we've got a straight line from knees to shoulders. Keep pressing into the feet, engage into the glutes, keep the front ribs drawing into the body. So we've got this co-contraction. Inhale at the top if you haven't done already. And then as we exhale, we lower the spine down, one vertebra at a time. And think about reaching the tailbone away. So as we lower down, it's like we're creating a little bit more length into the spine. Inhale at the bottom, repeating that. Exhale, draw the navel into the tailbone under, press into the feet, squeeze the glutes, peel the spine away from the mat, keep the front ribs hugging in. So we're not coming into a full bridge like a normal yoga position. We're keeping the shoulders as they are. Inhale at the top, and then as we exhale, we lower all the way back down, taking your time like you're lowering a string of pearls, one vertebra at a time, and really drawing awareness there as well, bringing all your attention into that part of the body. And then let's just allow the hips to, the knees just to switch from right to left in a windscreen-like action, windscreen wiper-like action. On side to side, there we go. And then from here, let's draw those knees in once more, giving them a hug, and then lengthen your left leg out. Keep your hands squeezing onto that right shin as we feel that connection into core. Good. If you need a little rest here, let your shoulders and head come back down. Otherwise, stay in here. And then we swap the legs as you come back up if you're lowering down. Drawing that knee in. Sorry if you can hear my gurgling belly. And then release head and shoulders back down. So just feel again that sense of heat and activation into the core. Let go of the knees, come all the way over onto your right hand side into that fetal position. We're going to carefully guide ourselves back up. So left hand to the floor in front of the chest, extend into that left leg, guide yourself up with your arms, with your hands, and come into a seated position, maybe crossed legs. If you've got a block, you can sit on a block or a cushion, or if you prefer to kneel, you've got that option as well. And then just take a nice big roll through the shoulders, finding that big movement, lifting up, squeezing the shoulder blades together, lowering them down. So again, really bringing into your awareness the movement of your scapula, your shoulder blades, as we take that movement and releasing any tension here. As we inhale, send the hands away, lift through the arms, coordinating movement with breath. Feel that sense of expansion. And exhale, reach into those fingers as we lower the arms down. Let's take that again. Inhale. And exhale. From here, take the hands out behind you. If you are sat on a block or on a cushion, you might need to move it out of the way. As you bring your hands behind you, bring your feet to the mat. So again, we're going to bring some awareness into the core before we come to standing. I know quite often we do Navasana at the end, but as a dancer, we always did lots of core work at the start of the class to engage here. So I'm bringing that back in. Shoulders draw down, lift one shin and feel this sense of a V shape from your thigh into your upper body, and then swapping over. If you want to go straight to both shins together and just stay in here, engaging, feel like you're zipping up through the front of the body. And then as an option, and as options, you can release one hand and then the other, or take both together. Feeling that sense of lengthening through the core, through the spine. Good, one more breath here. And then as we exhale, crossing those legs, releasing down, and maybe just taking a little release forwards onto the forearms or just onto the hands. Good. Taking a moment to connect into the breath here. And then as we inhale, rising back up. If you need to switch back onto your block or your cushion, you can do that first. And then inhale, lift through those arms again. And then as we exhale, draw the elbows down. Keep the front ribs drawing in and feel like the elbows are drawing out behind you. So we begin to open through the front of the shoulders, and then we scoop the elbows, scooping them in like you're squeezing a block between your elbows. If you've got a block, you can even hold on to it and squeeze. And keeping your elbows about shoulder height, shoulder blades really sticking onto the back. So we've got this, we're creating this scooping action and squeezing action, and we can really feel the muscles in and around that shoulder activate. Good. And releasing down. Inhale, lift. Let's do that once more. Exhale, draw the elbows down. Keep the front ribs in as the elbows pull out behind you. Feel long through the neck and scoop those elbows in. Squeeze your imaginary block or your actual block, and this time extend the palms forwards, fingers facing up. And keeping that sense of squeezing. If you were in a class and I came round and tried to open your arms out, I wouldn't be able to because they're solid. We want to keep that same sensation when we're in our plank, and then relax those arms. Take any little rolls and movements that you want. Maybe a little circle through the rib cage. Good. And then from here, let's shift into our tabletop position. So switching over, moving into it however feels comfortable, spreading through the fingers, and gently press the mat away. Feel the front body hugging in towards you, pressing the ground away with the shins, feeling long through the spine, and just be aware of the position of the head. Does it feel like you want to drop it kind of drops off, or is it in line with the spine? See if you can keep it in line with the spine. Draw the chin in. As we inhale, taking cat-cow, lift the head, lift the tailbone. And as we exhale, draw the navel in, push into the hands, chin to chest, tuck the tailbone under. And inhale, again, coordinating movement with breath. Be aware of keeping that breath even rather than Breathing in quickly at the beginning of the breath. And one small inhale. And exhale. Good. Take a moment in child's pose as we release back to neutral and send the hips down onto the heels. If it feels too much bend in the knees, then you can always place a cushion or a rolled up blanket between your thigh and your calves, or as an option, you could take puppy pose instead. So seeing what feels good for you and just taking a moment here, drawing the awareness in, and again, a reminder of your affirmation. I allow my body to be my guide. I am grateful for its wisdom. And then sending the hands out ahead. As we inhale, rising back into our tabletop and moving into sunbird from here. Left leg reaches out behind you. Allow the toes to connect to the mat. Neutral spine, hips at the same height, and extend into the right arm, fingertips to the mat. Keep the chin drawn in. You can stay here. Notice if you're sagging through the center and draw the front body in. Resist gravity. As an option, you can lift the leg, keeping hips at the same height, and also into the arm. If you want, you can keep one of them down or both. See what works for you, finding that sense of stability long through the back of the neck, chin drawn in. One more breath here. And then releasing the hand down, allowing the shin to release down. And then from here, we're going to lift that knee out to the side. So left knee reaches out to the side without hitching the hips. Inhale, squeeze the thigh in, and then once more. Exhale, lift, and then extend into that leg, lowering the foot down to the mat. And then walking the hands in, we lift up into our Parigrasana gate pose. So we're high kneeling now. If you need any support under the knee, you can double the mat over or place a blanket here. Inhale, lift through the arms. And exhale, releasing down towards your straight leg, the leg out to the side. So switch it over to the other side, Kim, that's it. Extend up into the hand. Feel that sense of reaching out of the waist. And then if you want, you can bring it over towards the leg. Engage into the core. Feel like you're lifting out of that pelvic floor. Good. And release. From here, bringing that foot now in front of you. And we're going to come into a low lunge from here. So allow the hands to reach to the mat and send the hips forwards. Maybe forwards and then back. Taking a half split here and just bringing awareness into the front of the hip, into the back of the leg. Just checking in, seeing what the body needs. A couple more times, and then from here, releasing that front foot back into your tabletop and walk the hands forwards as we find our puppy pose. So hips stay above the knees, forehead towards the mat, or chin or chest. Checking in with those shoulders, just being aware of how far you can go with this posture. And then as we inhale, rising back up, keep the hands reaching forwards and allow the hips to come through. So we end up in a plank variation with the knees down. Keep pressing the hands into the mat and think about that scooping action we did at the start. Engage that here. Find that scooping action, front ribs drawn in. Engage into the core, long out through the spine. Inhale, and then as we exhale, slowly lower. So we're just using the arms, keep the chin drawing in so we're not reaching with the forehead. Good, all the way down. And let's just come into Sphinx here. So forearms down. Bring the big toes together, heels together, press the tops of the feet into the mat. Tuck the tailbone under, press into the forearms, draw the shoulders down. As we open up through the front of the body, we're staying connected through the back of the body. Take a moment to breathe and then release. And then from here, allow your elbows just to wing out to the side. Stack your hands on top of one another and bring your forehead down. And then from here, we're just going to extend into the right leg. So reach into the toes of that right leg and As you reach, allow that leg to lift. Keep that leg in its neutral position, so we're not trying to turn it out, but we're lifting that right leg away from the mat. And if it feels better, you can always shift the upper body so that you're more in that Sphinx position. Otherwise, keep your head resting down onto your hands and then release that right leg down. Good. And then let's do that with the left. Inhale, and then as we exhale, reach into those toes, engage with the leg, engage into the glute as we lift that leg. Good. Keep breathing. And then lowering it down. If it feels good, just shake, kind of rock the hips from side to side. And then slide the hands back by the side of the chest and pressing back up into that variation of plank. Send the hips back into your child's pose. Forehead down. If you want, bring the hands into the side of the body. Staying connected into that breath. Again, a reminder of your affirmation. I allow my body to be my guide. I am grateful for its wisdom. And then inhale, let's rise back up into our tabletop. And then from here, we come into our sunbird on the other side. So right leg extends. Press the ground away with both hands. Front ribs in, neutral spine, hips at the same height. Extend into the left arm long through the back of the neck. And then you can stay here, or we can begin to lift the leg. Think about the inner thigh lifting so that your knees and your knee and toes are pointing downwards. And an option also to lift into that left arm. Stay long through both sides of the waist. Keep the navel drawing in, neutral spine. Just finding length here. Well done. And then releasing that left hand down to the mat. Releasing the right shin down to the mat. And then from here, as we exhale, lifting that knee out to the side without hitching the hips. It's just wherever we can move to without the pelvis moving. Inhale, drawing in. And exhale, lifting into that knee. So that fire hydrant movement. And then extend into that leg. I'm just going to have to shift so I'm facing you. Extend into that leg. Allow the foot to come down to the mat. And then walk the hands in so that we can come up to our high kneeling position. Ready for gate pose. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, releasing the right hand down towards the right leg. Good. Lengthen up into that left hand. And if there's availability to, we can reach over, but stay with that sense of lift, engaged into the pelvic floor. Be aware of the rest of the body. Good. And releasing that arm down. Bringing that right leg in and placing the foot in front of you. Bring the hands down as we come into our low lunge and just send those hips forwards and back. Taking your time here, again checking in. How does that left hip feel? How does the back of that right leg feel? Knowing what your body will want from this practice. Good. Take a moment just to hold into that low lunge. And then from here, bringing that right foot back in. Shins back to the mat. And again, finding your puppy pose. Extend the hands forwards, forehead down, or chin or chest. Hips stay stacked above the knees. And then as we inhale, rising up. Maybe bring the hands in a little, but then send the hips through. And finding that positioning, so hands are underneath the shoulders into our variation of plank. Finding length through the spine here, long through the back of the neck. On your exhale, lower. And from here, coming into a baby cobra. So big toes are together, heels are together. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Scoop the tailbone under. And as we lift through the shoulders, lift through the chest, make the hands light as they lift away from the mat. Good. And then release facing down. Lower. Bring your hands back in front of you, forehead onto the back of the hands, and just give the hips a little rock from side to side. And then from here, we're going to come into locust. So bring the hands down by the side of the body, reach the fingers towards the heels, and then if you want, you can lift both legs as well as we find our locust connected into the back of the body, and then lower those legs down. Bring the hands back by the side of the chest and pressing back up through your variation of plank, and let those hips sink down onto the heels. Maybe even with a little shift side to side with the hips, checking in with that lower back. And then from here, let's move into our first downward facing dog. So lifting up, spread through the fingers, tuck the toes under. Again, that sense of scooping the elbows. So the inner elbows are slightly facing forwards. Lift through the hips and press the mat firmly away with the hands. We're externally rotating at the top of the arms, and we've got a neutral spine. So the ears are by our upper arms, front ribs are in, lifting through the sitting bones, and the knees can be as bent as they need to be here. Make your spine your first priority. And because essentially we've got our hands above our head, we want our shoulders to move towards our head. So the natural scapulohumeral rhythm is in action within the shoulder. So press the mat away, allow the shoulders to move towards the head. And then pedal through those heels, lift and lower, bringing mobility to the ankles. And just finding some movement there. And then from here, we can either walk the feet to the hands or walk the hands to the feet. But bringing yourself so that you've got your weight now on your feet. Maybe with soft knees, you can allow your forearms to rest on the thighs. Otherwise, allowing that upper body to release over the legs. And if you want here, you can also take a little ragdoll, little sway from side to side. And then releasing the hands, give the head a nod, shake of the head, shrug of the shoulder, and then let's uncurl, chin to chest, tuck the tailbone under, draw the navel in, press into the feet. As we press into the feet, we engage into those glutes, and drawing all the way up to standing. And take any little movements that feel good, a wriggle of the hips, a wriggle of the shoulders, and then make your way to the front of your mat into your Tadasana. So you might have feet together, you also might have your feet hip distance apart. See what feels best for you. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water. And have that real sense of pressing the ground away, reaching down into the earth with the feet. Draw the kneecaps up, firm up through the thighs. Again, front ribs draw in, so that as we press, we're not flaring into the ribs. So those ribs are knitting in, still breathing into that lower part of the rib cage, long through the back of the neck, and spread into the fingers. Really feel this sense of full body awareness into your Tadasana. If it feels good, close the eyes for a moment. And then as we open the eyes, let's move through some sun salutations with lunges. And as we inhale, lift through those arms. Exhale, release the arms down, hinge at the hips, folding forwards. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Inhale, step the right foot back. If you need to, lower that back knee. And then as we hold the breath, we release into our plank. It can be any variation that suits you. As we exhale, lower. And then as we inhale, take any back bend that suits you. Maybe Sphinx, baby cobra, normal cobra, or up dog. And then exhale, moving into your downward facing dog. Breathe in here. Checking in with that breath now. If it's gone deeper and faster, slow it down, make it lighter. Breathing through the nose and keep it even over the length of that inhale, over the length of that exhale. Lifting through the sitting bones. Bringing awareness to that lower back. We want that natural lumbar curve to still be there. So notice if you've flattened it out. On your next exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands, bring the right foot through. Inhale. As we exhale, both feet together, forward fold. And inhale, open the arms, lifting up high. Exhale, draw the palms down. And release. Let's take one more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, left foot back. Lower the knee if you need to. Holding the breath, releasing into your version of plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, Sphinx, Cobra, or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Or perhaps puppy pose if you need to. Press that ground away, press the mat away with the hands. Feel that connection to the shoulders. Think of that scooping action we did earlier. So the spine should feel long and lengthened here. Heels reach towards the ground, but they don't need to touch. Certainly not at the detriment to making your spine come out of alignment. Exhale, bend the knees, look between the hands and step the left foot through. Inhale. Exhale, both feet together, forward fold. And inhale, lift through the arms. And exhale. Good. And then coming back into your Tadasana. Taking a moment, really checking in with how the body feels. And then we're going to come into a balance. So if you need to be close to a wall to hold on to, then just make sure you've got something close by to do that. Otherwise, bring the palms together. We're going to work through the right knee first, and we're going to circle the knee before we come into tree. So press the ground away with your left knee, your left foot, lift through the right knee, and then see if you can lift that knee a little higher, and then as we take it out to the side. So we're aiming to keep the pelvis still and just exploring that movement. So the mobility into that hip with a circle, cross over the midline of the body. Again, lifting, open and down, finding that control as well. So we've got balance, we've got strength, we've got control. And then from here, bringing it into your tree. So keeping the hips neutral, knee just out to the side wherever feels comfortable. And then maybe to bringing that foot to your ankle, to your calf, or with a little bit of help, bringing it to your upper thigh. Pressing the ground away with the supporting leg. Now imagine your hips are hugging the legs in, create length and space in the spine. Inhale, send the fingers up to the sky. And exhale, open those arms. Allow the shoulders to soften now, away from those ears. Inhale, lifting up. Good. And exhale, drawing those hands down. Well done. Fold the knee in. Keep that thigh lifted and then sending that foot directly out behind you into a crescent lunge. So sending it straight out. If it's only a short way, give it a little hop back. Keep your front knee above the ankle. Now press the mat away with the feet, engage into the glutes, hug those hips in, sweep the arms up. And as we exhale, draw those elbows down. This time lift through the chest, so we're opening through the front of the body. Good, maybe looking up to the sky, and then inhale, bring the gaze forwards, palms together, and then releasing that upper body forwards. So we've got the weight more onto this front leg. Now you can stay here, otherwise we're going to move into warrior three. So if you want, lift that back leg. Again, think about sunbird that we did earlier, hips at the same height, lift through the inner thigh, press the ground away with a supporting leg. If you've got something to hold on to, go for it. Staying connected into that breath. And then from here, we're going to bring that knee through again. So we're going to bend the knee, squeeze the heel towards the glutes, and then see if we can lift through the chest. bringing it all the way through. Now, if you need to put your foot down a couple of times, that's totally okay. And then from here, let's see if we can go into Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. So grab hold of your big toe or hold your hand underneath your thigh. Good. So if you've got hold of your big toe, now you can keep your leg completely bent. Maybe just send the heel forward a little bit. You don't have to straighten the leg. You can if you want. I'm going to keep mine bent for today, but press the ground away. Now think about tucking your tailbone under a little bit. It'll give a little bit more space into that hip, and then move that leg to the side. So we've just moved. So again, we're kind of opening into that hip. You can send the heel away a little bit. If you want to straighten the leg, you can, but you don't have to. Good. And then I'm going to fall. Hold on to something if you want to. And then bring it back across. Back across. Good. So it's to the front. Now, can you let go of that foot? Your knee can still be bent, but hold that leg there. Well done. And then bring in your ankle on top of the other thigh. So we're in this little figure 4, and then bending your knee. Holding onto a wall, perhaps in front of you or to the side. Well done. Amazing. And then we're slowly going to lift back up and then release your foot all the way back down. Inhale, lift through those arms. And as we exhale, hinge at the hips, folding forwards. Halfway lift. Inhale, hands to shins. Bend the knees, plant the hands, step back into your plank. If you want to skip out this vinyasa, you can. Your version of plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, Sphinx Cobra or Up Dog. And exhale into Down Dog, or you've got the option to take Child's Pose here or Puppy Pose. And again, return to the breath. Connecting to the body. Using your affirmation. I allow my body to be my guide. I am grateful for its wisdom. And then if you are in Child's Pose, making your way back to your downward facing dog. And then from here, bending the knees up between the hands and bring the feet through. So you can either walk, step or jump them through. Halfway lift, hands to shins, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, draw the lower belly in as we hinge at the hips, fold forwards, knees can be bent if they need to be. And then inhale, open the arms, lifting up. And exhale. Draw the palms down. And again, take a moment into your Tadasana. Close the eyes if you want to. Really drawing awareness inwards, being completely aware of that inner world. And that movement of energy, that subtle energy. Opening the eyes again, bring the palms together. Okay, we're going again on the other side this time. So pressing the ground away with that right foot. Lifting through your left knee. And then lift it up a little bit higher. And then we're going to circle it, keeping the pelvis as still as you can, holding on to a wall if you need to. Taking your time with it. So we're slowing it down. Really finding that control, crossing over the midline to find that circle. And one more. Good. Really using that knee. Imagine you're painting a big circle in the air with that knee. And then finding your Vrksasana, your tree, foot to calf or ankle or thigh. Press the ground away, hips hug it in. Feel that sense of lift and lengthen, reach into the fingers and really send those fingers to the sky. Exhale, we open. Well done. Inhale, lift. And exhale, draw the palms down. Fold that knee in and lift that knee And then send that foot straight out behind you. So directly out behind you, finding your crescent lunge, and then really press the ground away. Lift through the back heel, so you're driving the toes down. We engage into the glutes, into the hips, lift through the arms. Keep pushing those back toes down into the mat as we lift through the chest. So we're creating a bit more of a back bend here. Looking up if we can, and then as we inhale, lift those arms and then draw the front ribs back into the body and palms together. Lower the upper body forward. So we're in this diagonal line of energy. Now you can totally stay here, or you have the option to bring yourself into your warrior three. Hips at the same height, lift through that inner thigh, press the ground away with your supporting leg, and extend behind the knee and engage into the foot. Do something with it, flex it, point it, spread the toes, feel that energy moving through the leg. Okay, we're going to come back up. So we're going to fold that knee in and begin to draw our shoulders back up. Grabbing hold of something if you need to. I'm totally cheating. I mean, it's not cheating. Let me rephrase that. I'm totally using some support. Lifting through that knee. Good. And then finding, let me face you, finding either your big toe, hooking your fingers around it, or holding underneath that thigh. And then from here, you can send your heel away a little bit if you want, straightening your leg, but don't let your spine collapse. So you might need to keep a little bend here, pressing into that supporting leg, and then moving that foot out to the side. Tuck the tailbone under a little bit to find a bit more space into that hip. Good. You want to send the heel away a little bit, just experiment, but just be aware of that hamstring, and then drawing it back across. And then let go of the foot. Can you keep the leg there for a moment? Maybe using the arms just to find balance. Good. And then bring the foot down again if you need to. And then crossing that ankle over the other thigh. And then we bend into that supporting leg. So it's a bit like we're coming into chair with that leg crossed over. So we've got this figure four. We're releasing into that glute, into the quad. Maybe holding onto a wall. Well done. And then from here, lifting up, release that foot down and release the hands, standing all the way up. Inhale, lifting up. Taking a vinyasa here. If you want to skip it, you can. Exhale, fold. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. And then planting those hands, holding the breath as we release into our version of plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, Sphinx or Cobra or Up Dog. Exhale, Downward Dog or Child's Pose. Connect to breath. Awareness drawn inwards. And then if you're in Downward Dog, lower the knees. And if you're in Child's Pose, coming back up into your tabletop. And then from here, taking a cat-cow. So inhale, lift the head, lift the tailbone, but allow the hips to draw back out behind you so it starts to have a sense of flow. And then exhale, draw the navel into the tailbone under and allow everything to shift forwards. Repeating that inhale. And exhale. Good. And then returning to that neutral point, and then crossing the ankles, sitting down behind you, or any other way to bring yourself back to sitting. I've had to cut out a flow because we don't have time to fit it all in. But never mind, that's me over planning. So from here, bring the soles of the feet together, coming into Baddha Konasana. If you need to sit on a cushion or a block here, you can. And if you need to, have the feet a little bit further away, hands onto the shins, so it's more of a diamond shape. Otherwise, if it feels comfortable to have the heels in closer to the pelvis, hold on to the feet. And then think about the knees pressing down to the side. And as you connect into the sits bones, press the ground away and lift up tall out through the crown of the head. Now you can totally just stay here. Otherwise, as you exhale, think about your lower part of your rib cage, your solar plexus, reaching forward. So we're not creating any tension in the shoulders. We're not trying to think about the forehead reaching and then creating that lift through the shoulders. So staying open through the chest and thinking about this area of the body reaching forwards. And just hinging as much as you feel comfortable doing so. Take a moment here with the breath. And if there's a bit more room with the exhale, you can shift forwards a little bit more. And then when you're ready, on the inhale, drawing back up. Good. And then bring the knees back up. And let's release down onto the back. So lowering yourself down onto your back here and allow those knees to draw in. Let's come into happy baby. So soles of the feet to the sky, knees wider than the chest, and feet the same width as the knees. As an option, you can just bring your forearms across the back of the thighs, or hands onto the back of the thighs, and just reach the tailbone forward so we've got a neutral spine, or hands onto the outer edges of the feet, or even, again, hooking your fingers around your big toes. Draw downwards with the feet, maybe pulling on one foot and then the other, so you get that pleasant rocking sensation. And then release. Releasing the feet down all the way to the mat. And if you quite like a reclined or a Supta Baddha Konasana, then take a moment here, allowing the knees to drop to the side, soles of the feet together. If this isn't comfortable for you, just place the knees, place the feet on the mat, knees still bent. One more breath here. And then as we think about the knees drawing back towards one another, allow the feet to move to hip distance apart. And then let's finish with our reclined twist. So keep the feet staggered, feet hip distance apart, and let the knees drop. So you end up with the knees staggered, opening the arms. If you want to find a deeper twist, you can stack the knees or even lengthen into that left leg, and you can support that leg with your right hand or even hold on to that foot. See what feels most comfortable for you, and then draw the hips back to the mat. Good. Recenter yourself, make sure everything's in alignment, and then releasing over to the other side. Knees dropping down. If you want to, stack the knees or extend that right leg out to the side. And then releasing your hips back to the mat. Good. Just make sure that your hips are central again. Spine is in alignment. And then if there's any sensitivity in the lower back, stay with your knees bent just to make the feet a bit wider, and then drop the knees together. Otherwise, lengthening your feet to the corners of your mat as we come into Shavasana. Press the back of the head into the mat, scoot the shoulders underneath the heart, palms facing up, closing the eyes, and allow the fingers to gently curl inwards. Take a moment here, really giving into gravity. Really notice the contact points of the body and give into that sense of releasing allowing your mat to hold you. Soften the skin across the forehead, the skin around the eyes. Keeping your tongue at the roof of the mouth with the tip of your tongue resting behind the gum line of your top two front teeth. Allowing your teeth to gently part. So there's a sense of release through the jaw. Still breathing through the nose. And allowing now your exhale to become longer than your inhale. If it helps, you can count your breath. 4 counts as you breathe in. 6 counts as you breathe out. Allowing us to shift into our parasympathetic nervous system. And again, keeping that breath movement in the belly. So the chest might move a little towards the end of the breath, the end of the inhale, but we're directing that breath into the lower part of the body. And then really taking these next few minutes to release here in your Shavasana. That stillness of the body matched by a sense of stillness of the mind. But what will probably happen is your mind will start to wander, which is totally normal. And every time it does, just recognize it first of all. And then without any judgment, gently guide it back to focus on the breath. Maybe the sensation of the breath or to count it. Each exhale softening through the body. And as you remain there, drawing awareness back to the breath if it's not there already, just begin to notice the momentary pause at the very top of the inhale before it switches into the exhale. The suspension, this little moment before it switches all over. See if you can pause there just a fraction longer, this complete moment of stillness. And the same at the very end of the exhale, the pause just before it starts to inhale again. And again, just see if you can extend that pause just for a fraction more. These quiet moments of complete stillness. Where you can really open your awareness to your intuition. And then just a final reminder of the affirmation for tonight. I allow my body to be my guide. I am grateful for its wisdom. And then with your next inhale, feel like you're drawing that breath into the body, all the way down to the soles of the feet, filling the legs, Down the arms to the tips of the fingers, filling all the way up to the crown of the head, bringing a sense of vitality and warmth all the way through the body. As you exhale, letting go of any leftover tension, along with any unkind thoughts or negative thought patterns. And then bring some movement back into the body. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, circle the wrists and the ankles. And then lengthen the arms out behind you. Take a stretch from fingertip to toe here. And then draw the knees in, giving them a hug. Maybe a rock from side to side. And then releasing the head down. Bringing yourself over into that fetal position onto your right hand side. Taking a moment here. Stacking the shoulders, stacking the hips. And then lengthen the left leg. Bring your left hand onto the floor in front of your chest, guiding yourself carefully back to a comfortable seated position, one that suits you. And bring the palms together. Rest the thumbs against the sternum. Keep the eyes closed for a moment as you gently bow the head. Take an inhale, gently through the nose. And an exhale. Feeling connected through mind and body. Connected into the breath. And keeping that sense of calm with you into the rest of your evening and into the rest of your week. Allowing your eyes to open. And thank you so much for joining me and for sharing your practice with me this evening.